all along what was happening was insulin resistance. So I'm here today to talk about insulin resistance and share with you some of the things that I've learned on my healing journey that allowed me to go from the woman at almost 270 pounds on the left to the woman over here who is now being able to work out, walk, go up and down stairs, and in the process get rid of that cane. There's a walker hanging there and the disability plates on that car. I talk about this sometimes, but I don't often get to put the picture up. So that was my reality 2 years ago. 2 years ago, this was here. So what I would love is to hear, there's a number of you guys hopping in. Yay. So I am in Maryland right now. Where's everybody coming in from? Where are you guys at this morning? What's going on with you? Maryland. I moved here from Washington State. Where are you guys from? I wasn't sure about making this transition from the West Coast to the East Coast, but I have to tell you, I really love it here. It's beautiful. It has water. It has trees. Scotland. Senga, good morning and welcome. You know what? That's interesting because actually I just saw my daughter-in-law pop on over on TikTok, and she's Scottish, and so her and my son, not my grandson, her and my son never got to take a honeymoon, and that's where they're going to go for their honeymoon, to visit her roots. And Lisa from Nebraska, amazing. Good morning. How is Nebraska? Do you love it there, or is there someplace else you'd rather be? You guys, I love where I'm at, mostly because my family's here, but again, because of the trees and the water. There's so much here close. I feel like I'm in the country, and then the city's so close for me. I'm a country girl at heart. I did not grow up near a city, and so I love it wherever I can get closer to nature and around. And when I see deer and ducks and stuff, or like the little lizards that were crawling around out here all summer, my grandson freaked out about it, but I love it here. So, all right, we're going to talk about insulin resistance this morning, you guys. It's important because, again, if you're suffering with any of the things up here, this is actually every single thing on that list is part of what was happening with me when I was in those first couple of pictures. Now I've overcome the diabetes. Oh, I didn't put hypertension on there. How could I miss hypertension? So high blood pressure is one as well. You guys understand, if you have excess weight and you have high blood pressure, you're likely insulin resistant. So I want to talk this morning and give you guys some answers as to, why that's happening, and maybe how you can start to get better from some of that. And let me move this stuff around a little bit. And get your health back. If you're like me, you are going to doctors and just trying to find answers for what's going on with all of these things, and you're not getting answers. And so if you're frustrated and you're sick and tired of being sick and tired and not getting answers from the people that you trust to give you answers, hang out for a second. I love to answer questions. And again, you guys, I'm just sharing the information that I've learned on my journey as I've overcome all of that above. So if any of those look like you and you want me to address or talk about any of those, let's dive in and get that done. But insulin resistance, I know how many of you guys have been hearing about insulin resistance, because it seems like it's just all of a sudden this big buzzword. And it's kind of crazy because I worked in medical for years. Nobody ever said anything about insulin resistance. Nobody ever once addressed, hey, if you've got skin tags, if you've got discoloration around your neck or on your elbows or your knees, you might have insulin resistance. Nobody ever said, hey, ladies with PCOS, you could be insulin resistant. Nobody has said any of those things. So that's why I'm here to share it, because this one thing called insulin resistance really does impact the majority of our health issues today, especially because, we're not dealing with the plague and stuff anymore, right? Most of our health issues are born of the food that we eat and the environment that we're in, as far as our health goes, and all of this stuff leads into that. This week, I'm going to be talking more about aging as to do with insulin resistance, so muscles, bones, your skin laxity, collagen uptake, all of those things. So watch for those videos on all the channels, and you're going to start to see some of those where I link together insulin resistance and how it's making your aging go quicker, because we don't need to be as old as we look and feel. We don't need to be in pain. We don't need to have all of those things going on. We also don't need to have a bunch of medications to overcome all of these things. Medications that are further damaging our bones. Guys, I was just reading this morning, and one of the things that I had to reread, and I knew it, but sometimes you just kind of get slapped in the face with it. When I think about all the people who are older and having bone fractures and whatnot, who are also insulin resistant or diabetic, that's a problem. You're not able to build strong bones and you have problems. So diabetes does equal insulin resistance. Yep. You know what though? Faye says because they remove fiber from our diet, which absolutely is right. So all of our fiber has been stripped, not all of it. That's pretty broad sweeping term, but most of our fiber has been stripped from our diet. Wheat, you'll find, if you start utilizing fiber and start getting your gut more reactive to the positive microbiome, the wheat will bother you less, but probably more what's bothering you with wheat is the glyphosates on it, the Roundup that they use, than the wheat itself. So there's that. I had horrible intolerance to wheat and gluten, and that's much better now because I've become insulin sensitive. So my gut's stronger, my gut's more balanced, and so it's not so. Good morning from Denmark, Anja. So you have, Mallory says she has PCOS and it's hard to lose weight, skin take, sleep apnea, fatigue, discoloration. All of that would tell me that you're insulin resistant. I'm not a doctor. I can't diagnose anybody. But look, if it's dietary born and we can fix it by addressing what's missing in our diet, then and you could have the chance of overcoming all of that stuff by just addressing what's missing in our diet without drastically changing anything that you're doing. Would you be willing to do that? Because I had a history of PCOS. Yes, I'm menopausal, so it looks different for me, right? But I had irregular, painful periods. I had all the stuff that goes along with PCOS, fibromyalgia, brain fog, fatigue. What else did you tell me in here? So you said you're hard to lose weight. Can I tell you a story real quick? I'm going to. So a couple of years ago, I needed to have a hernia surgery. My intestines were poking out by my belly button about the size of my fist every time I tried to engage my core. So I needed the surgery, and the surgeon said she wouldn't do it unless I lost 15 pounds. I broke down crying in her office because no matter what I tried, no matter how clean I tried to eat, I couldn't lose more than 5 pounds. I was in pain, I was tired, I just felt like life was done, and I actually stumbled on this system, this protocol that I can share, but it just is putting back what's been stripped out. It got me off of 10 different medications. By the time I had my next consult with her, she gave me 3 months to lose 15 pounds. I had lost 25 pounds by that point. A woman who couldn't lose more than 5 pounds, Hashimoto's, PCOS, menopause, all of that, I couldn't lose weight. I literally cried, and yet I had lost 25 pounds when I went back. She told me in that second meeting when we actually scheduled the surgery that she figured she wasn't going to be scheduling the surgery, that she had a bet with her PA that I would not lose the weight and that they would not be doing the surgery for me because, they just have this opinion that you're lazy, you're fat, you're undisciplined, that you really don't care about yourself, and that you're just going to sit there and cry about it, but you're not going to do anything about it, right? That's kind of does anybody get that feeling when you go into a doctor's office? You cut out soda, bread, pasta, and fast food. It's frustrating. Yeah. So look, not that I'm an advocate for eating junk food, but if I told you guys that you could Anja, yeah, I get it. Man, I was so frustrated. And I worked for doctors. So there's another little story about that. Um, and Sangha talks about menopause. So, yeah, menopause is really frustrating. There's a lot that goes on with menopause, and we'll dive into some of that too. But if you could still have the foods you love once in a while, have some what we call food freedom. I'm not talking about eating junk every day, but if you didn't have to worry about being this super strict, puritanistic person and you could just live life and have the foods you love when you want them, would that be life changing for you? Because it was for me. So it took me from that 270 pounds. I'm about 215 now, but I was also able to get rid of the walker, the cane, and you can't see it really well, but the disability plates on that car there. There's a little disabled guy on that. That was my life before. Now I'm back in the gym. Now I'm out hiking. I'm having sword fights in my house with my grandson chasing him around. Life looks different. I still have bread. I try not to have soda because it's so inflammatory and damaging. I can have pasta when I want it. Tomorrow night I'm going to be having Indian food at my kids' house. So I know we're going to have tikka masala. That's their favorite. But I don't know what other food we're going to have. But we will have naan, right? We will have naan. How can you have that and not have naan? So, and fast food, yeah. But like Saturday, I was traveling, Mallory, and I didn't pack any food. I don't have anyway. It doesn't really matter. But when I got to where I was going, and I'm in training, and we have a short lunch break, and the only place that was close to us was Chick-fil-A. So you know what I had for lunch on Saturday? Chick-fil-A. Did I have to worry about it? No. You guys, so let's talk about, I want to come back to menopause in a minute, but you guys, so there's this, right? This person here that overcame all those, but I'm not the only one. So 2 years ago, 270, diabetic, in menopause, in pain, and I was able to overcome it, get off of 10 medications, and get my life back once I understood insulin resistance. Now, before I start showing you pictures of other people, what I want to say is I worked for a doctor. We did all of these tests, blood work, saliva, urine tests, and we were trying to figure out a number of things, what was going on with me, but then she was also kind of we were playing scientist with us to figure out what type of testing was the best to really get to the root of what's going on with people. And in and amongst there was a metabolic test that we did. We got that metabolic test back, and she looked at me and she said, "You have the worst metabolic type that I could come up." Thank you. That could come up. And she said, she called me in and she looked like she was almost in tears giving me the news. But she said, "There's nothing I can really do to help you. You're always going to be fat. You're always going to be in pain. You're always going to struggle with this fatigue that you have. And there's nothing that I can do for you." So everybody that wants to come in and be like, "You're not a doctor, you can't talk about this stuff," bullshit. Because I lived it, and I had doctors tell me they couldn't help me, and I figured it out because I stumbled on something, just like you guys on TikTok. And yes, somebody mentioned fiber before. That's the key. You guys, our food is so imperfect, it's making us sick. And menopausal women, I'm going to come round back to you guys because there's some keys with that. If you're having hot flashes, women who have hot flashes are more likely to be insulin resistant. The more hot flashes you have, or the more severe your hot flashes are, the more likely it is that you're insulin resistant. So understand that, okay? Also, there's some stuff with hormones we'll go about. But you guys, this is me. I do want to share with you. Is it okay if I share with you a couple of other people who've done what I did, which is simple? It's not medications. It's not anything. We're adding in fiber back into our life. We're doing some intermittent fasting. How about I just go over that real quick? Anybody who wants to get over insulin resistance, there's been a couple of people who've dropped some stuff in here. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Linda, can I say this? Find another doctor. Find another doctor. She says her doctor wants to fix her by prescribing big pharma. If it's dietary born, how are they going to fix it with a pharmaceutical? How is that going to fix what's missing in your diet? How's that going to fix that? It doesn't. Dr. Jason Fung talks about that. And no diet change necessary? Well, yeah, there's diet change necessary. Am I telling you you can go about eating cake and candy and ice cream every day and not change anything? No. Am I telling you you have to like drastically change everything you're doing and live a life you don't recognize? No. There's a middle line, right? We want to find that middle line that makes it sustainable. And that doctor is like insane. That doctor is insane. In fact, most diabetes educators have been trained by big food, and big pharma is where they get their information. And guess what? Yeah, Chick-fil-A, I know, boo, I know. Um, I get it. I try to avoid Chick-fil-A. I used to love it, and then I read the 50 ingredients. But what I want Boo to understand is that it's not just Chick-fil-A. Go look at all the ingredients on any food you buy. It's gonna look like that. Okay? So yes, there's seasonings, and yes, there's that. That's part of the 50 ingredients, but yes, there's a whole lot of other things. But anything that you guys are buying over the out of a box or in a can or whatever, it has a ton of ingredients in it that you're just not quite aware of. So your doctor wanted to get diabetic shots for insulin resistance, but my insurance won't cover it. Oh my gosh. So Mallory, thank the heavens that your insurance wouldn't cover those, because they're damaging kidneys, heart, lungs, liver, thyroid. There's so many damaging. If you guys have not seen the reports out about Ozempic and these drugs, and by the way, they're all in the same class of drugs. So if there's problems with Ozempic, you know that there's problems with the others. Okay? So just be thankful that that doctor did not pump damaging drugs into your body. Be thankful. So let's talk about this real quick, and then we're going to round back. But guys, look, so all I did to get over all of this, lose 50 pounds, get my health back, get my inflammation down, get my brain function back, hair is growing in, eyes are getting better, all of it is by, I drink a tea in the morning that gives me energy. It's what I'm drinking now. I have a tea every morning that helps me get through a fast. I have energy, mental clarity. It's helping me burn fat for fuel. It's helping me become metabolically flexible. We'll talk about that in a bit. But when I am ready to eat, I just do this. I have fiber first, then I prioritize protein, then I fill up with healthy fats, and I limit my carbs. There is some timing to your carbs, so do your plate in this way. Fiber first, proteins, fill with healthy fats. That's avocado oil, extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, butter, ghee. Okay, those are the fats, not cottonseed oil, not canola oil, not safflower oil. Those are damaging. And then limit your carbs. Do some time-based eating. You gotta give the insulin a chance to come down. We're continually spiking insulin, and that's a problem. And then move your body. 25 to 30% of your body is muscle mass, so it's the largest organ in your body that can take up insulin. So the more active we are, the more we move, the more chance we have of becoming insulin sensitive. You don't have to be a bodybuilder, just move. We sit too much. So, metformin, Mariana, metformin, I couldn't tolerate it. It made me so super sick, and I don't like putting medications in my body just because, especially if there's something that I can do about it. Metformin is one of the drugs that I was prescribed that I got rid of. I know there's a lot of people who say, oh, it's great for longevity. I don't know enough about metformin. I know out of all of those diabetic drugs, the one that seems to be overall the best received is metformin. Would I choose metformin over what I'm doing? No. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, it definitely, good job, Mallory. Tragenta is about the same, Florida girl. You guys, so look, let's dive in. I just told you the 6 ways that I can tell you to help with your insulin resistance. Now with the fiber, I choose to supplement fiber because I can't get in all of those fibers. I live alone. Like, I look at my fridge and I'm already throwing away things, even though I try to eat healthy and eat at home and prepare my own food, all of that. It doesn't happen the same way, okay? But if the problem is born of us eating food, let's break it down just a little bit. So if we're eating food that's turning into energy, our food is all energy. It should be all energy. That's what our food should be. It shouldn't just be like, ooh, this amazing thing that gives us joy. It should do that, but our first focus should be getting us energy. And that's what food's purpose is. So it's turning into sugar in our bloodstream, but it's turning into sugar way too quickly. Sugar or glucose, okay? And what happens is when there's more than 1 teaspoon of that energy in our bloodstream, our body goes, oh, we need to deliver this energy to someplace in the body, any place in the body. And so it says, pancreas, do your job, promote this or produce this hormone called insulin. Now insulin comes out. What insulin is, you guys, is an energy transport hormone. It transports the energy that we've just eaten to all the cells of the body. But when we're promoting insulin in the body too often, we have hyperinsulinemia or too much insulin, that over time becomes insulin resistance. So you're so welcome. I hope it's helping. So once you become insulin resistance, there's so many things that start to happen in your body. It's insane how much starts to just go bad in the body. But most of the cells are going to be like, whoa, this is too much. I've seen you too much insulin. I don't want any more what you got. Stay away. And they literally shut down to insulin even if they need the energy. So that's some cells. Some cells will be like, oh yeah, I like this drama. I'm going to take it up. I want what you got. Bring it to me. And so then you end up with things like skin tags. You end up with the skin discoloration or overpigmentation from melanin like melasma and acanthosis nigricans, the dark skin patches. You end up with thickened inner cells of your blood vessels because that layer of cells is taking up too much of that energy that insulin is delivering. But the majority of the cells are resistant to it, right? So now insulin's carrying around this load of energy and it's like, holy crud, I've knocked on every door. I've tried to get it to the muscles. I've tried to get it to the bones. I've tried to get it to the brain. I've tried to get it to your nails and your teeth and your eyes and everywhere else in between, and nobody wants it. What am I going to do with this energy? Well, our body has this crazy storage system called fat cells. So when insulin can't deposit that energy anywhere else, it's like, I know where to put this because there's another load of energy coming in and I got to get rid of this. So it runs and it drops it in your fat cells. Now you're gaining weight, okay? But now you're eating more food that's turning into sugar too quickly. And so insulin's got to go back, get another load and deposit it somewhere. It's going to try the cells first that need it. And those cells are going to be like, I told you no. So then it's going to go, okay, I'm going to take it to the fat cells. Well, along that process, you guys have 2 types of fat. The one type is the visceral fat, the jiggly fat, or not the subcutaneous fat, the jiggly white fat that nobody likes to see, but it's not really harmful. Thank you, Liddy Lou. So, but what happens is there's a center in your brain. When you become insulin resistant, this center starts to misfire, the hippocampus. And so it starts saying, store this as visceral fat. Now, visceral fat is brown fat. It's the fat that's underneath your belly wall. It's the one that's causing your belly to poke out like this up here. It's causing all of that distension in your belly, whether you're heavy or not. And it's in and around your organs. So there's a couple of things I want to talk about with that. Now you have this fat that's meant to cushion and warm your organs. It's actually getting so in and around the organs. You end up with fatty liver disease. You end up with kidney failure. You end up with your pancreas being overloaded. You end up with heart problems. You end up with your stomach not being able to do its job. They're being choked off by this fat that insulin is depositing the sugar into because it has no place else to put it. So how do we stop all of that, right? How does that all stop? Well, we have to stop eating so much. And I'm not talking about calorie restriction. I'm not talking about all of that. I'm talking about give your body a break from producing insulin. So stop eating all the time. All these people, lovely, amazing people that I would want to hug, but they're just so misinformed because science does not support the eat every 2 hours. Hey, J-Gal. So it doesn't support this eat every 2 hours business that we talk about, that we're fed all the time. Where do you guys, does anybody have any clue who may have started this this misinformation about that we need to eat every 2 hours? That our metabolism is going to ramp up and our metabolism is going to burn better if we eat every 2 hours. Eat smaller meals, but eat every 2 hours. Do you guys know where that really came from? Twice a day, no snacking, perfectly. The government failed. Well, the government, yes, has failed on at many areas. The food industry, right? Who profits when you eat more? The food industry. And do you know that when people start doing this eat every 2 hours, the people who think they're doing that, when they've done studies on them, those people are actually eating upwards of 12 to 16 times a day. It's no longer 6 times a day, it's 12 to 16 times a day. So what happens, now you understand that every time you eat, you're spiking your insulin. I hope you understand that. You're having this insulin go out in your system. So thank you. So every time somebody said they liked my barbell picture, you guys, does anybody, I know some of you guys know, I used to be a power lifter, a world champion power lifter, and then I got really sick and had to give it all up. And so I don't know if I'll ever lift as heavy as I used to, but I love to lift weights. I do. It just makes my soul happy. And by the way, some light resistance training helps you be more insulin sensitive. Okay? So to be more insulin sensitive, yes, I recommend start out with walks, dance, do qigong, do whatever you can, but some resistance training is going to help you with being more insulin sensitive. So no, you don't have to go squat 400 pounds, right? Just do some light training. Oh, yeah, my life has been pretty crazy. I'm very thankful for the adventures I've had in this life and all the lessons I've had to learn. I feel like I'm just very thankful. Some of it's not been easy lessons, but I'm thankful for every lesson. Okay, so now I lost track of where I was at. We're talking about insulin resistance. So you guys just understand that when we're spiking our insulin constantly by eating constantly, because remember it goes like this, we eat, it gets converted into energy, that energy is glucose in our bloodstream, right? Very, very simple terms. And then insulin gets cued to come out to transport that energy to the body. So when we're continually putting energy in every couple hours, there's constantly insulin in the body. Now, why is it important to get insulin down besides the fact that the cells are like, whoa, Nellie, I don't want you anymore? It's important because the component hormone, glucagon, like everything has yin yang, right? So in your metabolism, what creates like the health in your body and whether you're fat or thin or whether you have energy or not. So you have insulin, that's an anabolic hormone, meaning it wants things to grow. That's all, just remember, insulin is a hormone of growth. But its component, its balance is glucagon. Glucagon is a hormone of spending. So let's talk about it as saving and spending. So insulin likes to save. It's like the husband who's been out working and trying to make all this money, and it's bringing all this money in the house, and it puts it in the bank, and it's like, don't spend that money. I worked so hard for it. That's insulin. And then here comes along, sorry ladies, but here comes along the wife who's like, ooh, I need a new handbag. I want some new shoes. That's how insulin sees glucagon. So as long as insulin is awake and out in your body, it's going to tell glucagon, no, you don't get to spend anything that I just saved. Go away. It's not yours today. I worked hard to put that in here. You're not getting rid of it. We have to get insulin down so that glucagon can come out and start spending some of that excess that's in our storage cells or our fat cells and get us more healthy. Now, when we do that, right now, most of us are insulin adapted, meaning our energy, our everything relies on us having insulin in our system but that's causing all of these problems. So what we need to do is be able to switch. It's like having your light switch on all the time. Insulin, light switch on all the time. You turn that light switch on, you try to go to sleep, you can't sleep, the lights are on. Okay? You've got to turn that light switch off, and now you can get some rest and some healing and all of that going on. That happens when glucagon comes out. Glucagon only comes out when we stop eating so much and insulin comes down. Okay? Yeah, there's a lot to learn. So genetics are mildly involved, not so much as in it's just particular to my family. Let's talk about that. That's a great question. So if we're talking about genetics as in race, yes, there are some races that are more likely to be insulin resistant. Look, Caucasian people have had hundreds of years to adjust to this diet of refined breads and all of that stuff. Yes, you can sip coffee through the day with stevia, but you've had time to adjust to that. Latin Americans, Native Americans, not so much, right? So we get hit hard with the insulin resistance thing. Black people get hit hard with the insulin resistance thing, and Chinese, or not Chinese, not just Chinese, but Asian people. Okay, so Latin American, Native American, Black people, and Asian people all get hit worse with insulin resistance than by numbers than Caucasian people. So now there's some things with that, right? So I can speak to the Native American part. We were hunters. We had times when we had an abundance of food. My tribe is the Ojibwe tribe from the Great Lakes. And so in the summertime, we had tons of food. We had, cranberries. Cranberries are still my favorite. But in the wintertime, it could be hard, right? Not a lot of food. So our bodies, our genetics, and Dr. Yao, who wrote this book, Why Calories Don't Count, he talks a lot about genetics and this very thing. So monk fruit, good. Monk fruit, stevia. But like agave and those things, no. Monk fruit, yes. But so we got really good at being adapted to insulin, where we stored all of this energy, right? Because that's what carried us through the winter time when there wasn't as much food. So I do really well with fasting, but I also put weight on really easily. Some people don't do as well with extended fasts because that's just not their genetic type, but they don't put weight on as quickly. Okay, so genetics plays a part in a way. But what I want you to understand is that if you have a family who's heavy, if you have a family who has a history of diabetes, take a look at what you're eating. How have you been trained? So in my family, my mom's side of the family, my auntie was a nurse, and I would go to their house because they lived on our land for a while. And she would have apple pie and ice cream on the kids' plates for breakfast. And she would tell me, it's a healthy breakfast. They have fruits, they have grains, they have dairy. Okay? So her family learned to eat carbohydrates on carbohydrates on carbohydrates as a healthy meal. So when people started gaining weight in that side of the family, was there any wonder? My own mom, when we would go places, like she was a florist, and I would go train with her to learn how to do floral design and stuff. And on those trips, she would consider like, oh, well, they're going to serve us breakfast. You know what breakfast was when we got there? Donuts and orange juice and milk. Carbohydrates on carbohydrates on carbohydrates. I got to a point, even then, before I understood insulin resistance, I understood the way my body felt when I ate carbohydrates for breakfast versus when I ate protein for breakfast. And it got to a point where I said, I am not going to go with you anymore if that's what we're going to eat. If I can't get protein for breakfast, I'm not going to go with you anymore. And she would be really mad at me and like, I don't know what your problem is, but I held to my guns. And so that was before I started learning about insulin resistance. Just innately, my body felt better. So Francis says he does well with fasting, hard time losing even 1 pound. So Francis, we're going to get you there because Francis just started the system Uh, he just ordered it. It should be in a few. I'm going to coach him through how to get more insulin sensitive and utilize the system I use. By the way, you guys, I talked a lot about fiber and fasting. So what I do again is a tea that I drink in the morning. This gives me energy when I'm in a fasting mode. It helps me burn fat, break down that fat for fuel, gives me mental clarity and energy because it has a number of components that can actually get into the brain and increase my wellness score, reduce anxiety, depression, all of that. You guys, when you're depressed and when you're anxious, you eat more, right? So, and then because I know that I don't do a good job of getting in a rainbow of fibers before I eat, I supplement. I use this 10 minutes before I eat. Francis, thank you. I didn't know, and I can't see your picture. It's tiny. So Francis is a female. I'm so sorry, hon. But we're going to get you started. So the tea and the fiber, it's a system. You go to my profile and check on it there. You'll be able to see right under the red lights. It'll show you where to order it. I'm an authorized distributor for this. It's in the PDR. It's prescribable by your doctor. Some insurance are covering it, not all. But your doctor can look it up and prescribe it, but it's not a medicine. So you don't have to worry about it interfering with any medications you may be on until you can come off of them. Okay? So the tea is a very highly purified form of herbal mate tea. It's picked and it's harvested in Argentina by the farmers who grow it. So it's never machine harvested, always hand harvested. But we take it through several processes. This particular tea goes through a 5-step process. So the bagged herbal mate teas aren't going to do this job, just honestly. So this tea is taken through a process of fire roasting to release the components that we need to get to you out of the bulk of the plant. And so once it's extracted, it's concentrated, and then it's sent to the 5th step of purification. So environmental toxins, pesticides, PAHs are removed in that process. So now you have a highly pure tea that's highly concentrated. So one component, one of my favorite ones, called chlorogenic acids, it's one component that can actually cross into the blood through the blood-brain barrier. Not everything does, you guys. The brain is very picky about what it lets in. Chlorogenic acids are one of them. In the tea that I use, this tea that I'm drinking this morning, there's 375 times those chlorogenic acids as in a normal bagged tea. So I love it. Plus it's just in this packet that I just tear open and mix in water. Our new packaging looks like this, so it fits better in this bottle. But either way, I just mix it in water, hot or cold, and have that tea. And I am now doing every other day fast. I missed something. What do I eat for breakfast? Let's talk about that. So I'm doing an every other day fast right now because I'm amping up my efforts and understanding about genetics with me, that in order to help heal my heart and my liver that were so damaged at this point, I am taking some extra steps. I want to be around for a long time. So I ate yesterday. I won't eat it all today. I'll just have the tea. The tea doesn't break my fast, but it helps me feel full all day so I don't have to be cranky and whatnot. And then in the morning I'll eat again. I just started this about 2 weeks ago though to see how it worked because I'm always up for being a guinea pig for health. But on a normal day, on a 16-8 day, somebody asked, what do I eat? I am putting a video up today. So on my normal 16-8 days, I have something like sausage and eggs or steak and eggs, okay, protein, and maybe some fats like avocado or some cheeses, and that's the bulk of my breakfast, okay? No cereal, no fruits, none of that, because that's going to spike my insulin. So the protein and fats help me feel full, keep me feeling full longer, give me necessary components to build natural healthy muscle and become more insulin sensitive. The more muscle mass you have, the more insulin sensitive you will become. I'm not talking about go be a bodybuilder. I'm just saying most of us don't have enough muscle on our body. We need protein and we need fats before we need carbs. Okay. But even before that, I still have my fiber because the fiber is helping deliver those fats slower to my system. It's helping anything that's converting into sugar slowing down in my system. It's helping my gut microbiome by helping feed the good gut biota in my the good microbiota in my gut so that I'm healthier. My IBS is not on there as well, has gotten much, much better since starting the system. So breakfast would be something like that, a couple of eggs, some kind of meat, and then at the end of that meal, a lot of times I'll have a pear. So I've been talking about pears a lot lately. I learned this from Dr. Lee, L.I., who wrote the book Food as Medicine, when he was asked what his 5 favorite foods were for fruits. Pears was his favorite fruit because remember I talked about the chlorogenic acids that are in this. They're great for your metabolism, they're great for your brain, your wellness, being happy. Those are high in pears. Pears are one of the highest fruits in chlorogenic acids. They're also very high in fiber and much lower in sugars. So my breakfast would be that. Now for dinner, like last night I had some cabbages and whatnot, but I had a bird steak, and I don't skimp on the butter. I cook everything in butter, you guys. But I don't skimp on the butter. I don't have issues. I don't have a gallbladder, and even having that amount of butter, I don't have issues. Now I do take some bile salts and stuff to help me with digestion because of the no gallbladder. But that's what my day looks like. I'm not starving myself with anything. Tomorrow we're gonna have Indian food. Normally I wouldn't have rice. Will I have rice tomorrow? I don't know, but I'm gonna have the naan. I don't have to skimp on that stuff. I just have my fiber before I eat, and it helps. So what this fiber also does, besides helping you feel full before you even eat, slowing down the conversion of sugars into your system, and keeping you feeling full longer because you're allowing that food to pass through you more slowly, like it should. This is reducing those blood glucose spikes because of all of that by 28% with just one packet. 27%, I'm sorry, I don't want to misspeak. 27%. There's scientific studies that prove 27% reduction in a blood sugar spike by just adding this packet 10 minutes before I eat. And this system is why I've been able to lose 50 pounds, overcome the brain fog, the fatigue, the fibromyalgia, all of the stuff on this list, and get off of 10 different medications. Okay? So, yeah, so Francis, I don't know. It could be the fiber in the pears. If pears aren't agreeable to you, try berries. Berries aren't going to have the chlorogenic acids in them, but berries would be a better solution for fruits if you're not tolerating pears well. And maybe even make a little fruit salad out of cutting up the pears smaller and mixing it with the berries, and try that. Okay, hello RGV. So Yvette, you're down 5% body weight. And Yvette, what are you doing? Okay. So RGV, let's do you guys want to see where to place the order? I can just, if you go to my profile link up here, there will be a picture. I'm just gonna stop real quick and show you guys. We've been on for a while. Let me get myself straight over here. Okay. All right. On TikTok, you guys, I'm gonna show these guys. I'm also live on Facebook and YouTube, so I'm trying to make sure that I'm fair to everybody. All right, let's go and take a look. If you click on my picture up there. Oh my gosh. Some days, you guys, I have these issues with myself. Hello. All right, so if you click on my picture at the top of this live, It's going to bring up a box on the bottom. Click on that again. You'll get to my profile. In my profile, you'll see these two red lights. Right underneath of it is a link. If you click on that link, that's going to take you to my landing page that looks a little something like this. The top button is where you're going to click to order, and then this is important, you guys. You want to make sure that you're ordering from somebody who's authorized, because I will be giving you coaching. You'll get a 90-day money-back guarantee. You'll get a satisfaction guarantee, a quality guarantee. Make sure it says Michelle Fayant. That's going to connect you to me, and then you're just going to click the buy now. That'll take you to the page where you order. So 30 of the tea, 60 of the pre-meal drink. The tea comes in lemon ginger. The pre-meal drink comes in apple crush or orange. Apple crush is limited time, so I would leave it there. You guys, it does cost about $5 a day. So to save you money, do this. Do subscription. You can cancel it at any time. See, it says cancel at any time. But you also get free delivery, so now that's saving you $15, and they give you this gift of this free hand mixer that I use for both drinks when I mix my drinks up. But that's where you order. There's also a video in the top of my pinned videos that tells you how to do all of that. So once I see it come in, Frances knows because she ordered yesterday. Whoop, that's not what I wanted. And she got emails from me last night. She got texts from me, and so then we're on a mission to help her get her health back and help her get healthy. So you'll get a lot of support from me. That's my mission. And when I was here, I was smiling. You can't see it, thank God, in that picture, but I was in pain. And the thing that people didn't know is that I laid awake at night, every night, worrying, because I would wake up with my heart just beating out of my chest. Hypertension is real with insulin resistance. And my blood pressure would go up to like 240, sometimes 260, over 150, 160. And I'd gone to the hospital for it, and nobody could get it managed. My blood pressure is now 112 over 74 every morning. And I'm not on any medications for it. But at that point, I was afraid that I was going to die in my bed in the middle of the night, because I just thought my heart was going to explode, and I'm damn lucky that it didn't. During all of that, all the doctors I cycled through, all of the work that I did to get healthy, nobody once said, hey, you're having blood pressure problems, maybe you're insulin resistant. Instead of giving you dual therapy and triple therapy for blood pressure, instead of doing all these crazy things, why don't we address the fact that you're insulin resistant? Why don't we just address that and get your blood pressure down? Nope, it's here's a med and here's a med and here's a med. And, oh my God, those meds aren't working, and you're getting sicker and you're having more problems, and now there's even more things. I had neuropathy in my right arm so bad that I couldn't hold a bottle of water or a glass, because the nerves in there were so, it just wasn't working. We did all these tests to figure it out. Guess what? Taking care of my insulin resistance got all of that back. So you guys, here's the thing. Like I said, the system that I use, the protocol that I use, has a 90-day money-back guarantee. And so what do you got to lose? 90 days of doing something that's healthy for your body and seeing if that can help you. Now, please, if you decide to do the protocol alongside me, I don't want this to sound wrong. Use me. Please, please, please. I send you texts. I send you, don't feel like I've had people say, well, I don't want to bother you. No, that's what I'm here for. I finally got a hold of somebody the other day that I've been trying to get a hold of because they've been on the system, and they were like, well, I have more energy and my numbers are getting better, but I'm not losing the weight I want. And so we went over their day, and wow, like everything they were eating was carbohydrates, and they didn't even realize. They thought they were eating healthy. So once we went over that and made some adjustments and I explained things, they were able to understand why they weren't seeing the results they wanted. So when you order through my link, you get that kind of coaching and care. Kim, tell me your story. Tell me your story. Because you obviously are using the system. So, yeah, Tammy, you know what? I don't know the ingredients by heart. So you must. Is there a lot of biotin in the balance? Um, and why can't you have biotin? But yes, you guys, it's food. This is super simple. So you can do a half a packet, but now understand if you do a half a packet, you're not going to be as full. You're not going to stay full as long, and you're going to have less of that gel matrix to slow down the food that you're eating. So you're going to have to self-regulate a little more and really watch your carbs more than somebody who's using a full packet. Does that make sense? Okay. So um, Mrs. Kim, and why did your endocrinologist tell you that? I don't want to get too personal. I'm trying to understand. Oh, and you're on levothyroxine. Okay, okay. Are you getting biotin in anywhere else? So you're taking levothyroxine because you can't produce thyroid. Okay. So you guys, this is important too. It's not going to help Tammy at this point so much, but when you're having thyroid problems, a lot of that is coming from insulin resistance as well. Insulin resistance and the resulting inflammation that happens in your body can cause a dysregulation with thyroid. In fact, a lot of Hashimoto's, I've heard a number of doctors who talk about this. We're kind of jumbling a lot of stuff in together, but I've been hearing more and more doctors talk about how autoimmune diseases. There's one doctor in particular, I don't remember his name because, guys, I listen to so many doctors all the time. If I see them more than once and listen to them more than once, then I'll start to remember their name. But this doctor was talking about how he believes that all autoimmune disease begins in the gut. And it all begins with an imbalanced gut microbiome. And he also talks about fiber. I'm seeing more and more doctors talk about fiber. So that imbalance in your gut, that inflammation that's in your gut, understand that it's one of the largest organs in your system. And when it's inflamed and sick, it's going to leach out into every other area of your body. And the thyroid gets hit really hard with this. So it gets inflamed, and the body sees it as though it's a problem when it's not really the thyroid causing the inflammation, it's the gut causing the inflammation, but the body starts to attack the thyroid. And so you have an autoimmune. And I have a number of people who've had Hashimoto's. I was one, and we've all gotten better by getting our insulin resistance under control. So, so here's the thing. I'm not going to tell you that doing the protocol I do is going to cure any autoimmune disease. What I'm saying is, if you had a chance of increasing positive microbiota in your gut, getting the insulin under control, getting your body re-regulated, and having a chance that any of those things could get better, would that be worth just doing a natural system that's not causing your body damage? For me, it was. I was like, heck yeah, I'm going to try this. So there's that. All right, guys, I just got an alarm go off that said I have to get ready for another call. I will be back at 3. And I'll answer more questions, and we'll go over whatever you guys need to go over. I appreciate you. I appreciate you chiming in and helping out on this live. And, because when you guys ask questions, I want to say this. When you guys are vulnerable enough to ask questions and say stuff, it's helping other people, because there's a number of people in here who are listening who maybe just don't want to say something in front of everyone. And I get that, because I was one of those people. But by you asking questions, everybody's getting answers. So I really appreciate you and applaud you for doing that. And because you're part of the solution when you do that. So all right, guys, I'm gonna see you at 3 this afternoon, and then I'm live every morning around 8:30. I was a little bit late this morning because some things happened, always does in my life. But right around 8:30 I go live Monday through Friday. I don't go live often on the weekends because that's family time. Okay? Yeah, let's talk about Mrs. Kim. If you want to come back this afternoon, let's talk about the heart. That's one of my favorite things to talk about in regards to insulin resistance. There's a lot of information there. So come back and let's have that discussion. All right, guys, we'll see you later. Thank you, Francis and Senga and Anja. Thank you. We'll see you guys later.